For time and material projects, Sage Intacct Construction tracks all of those billable costs, and when you're ready to run the invoicing, it presents those costs to be invoiced. Let's take a look at this more specifically today. To invoice transactions, what we'll need to do is we'll need to generate an invoice. Now, we have several different invoice types that we can set up and use. Let's go ahead and enter the date of what we're invoicing through. And we'll select the jobs that we want to invoice. Here, you'll see I'll click on preview so we can see the actual transactions that are waiting to be invoiced. And as I scroll down here, I'll see a list of all of the billable transactions that have not yet been invoiced. So I can select one, and I can also select which ones that I want to invoice. First come the timesheet entries. So I'll see each individual timesheet entry and the details of the number of hours, the amounts, along with any description the employees put in along with their name. If I want to see the actual timesheets, I can click on the View Source selection here, and it'll bring me back to the timesheet entry. In this case, it looks like we have an attachment on the timesheet. So if I want to see that, I can click on the attachment, the little paperclip icon here, to view the attachment. We can see in this case, it's a signature capture with just the word timesheets. Scrolling down here, we can see the employees' expenses that are waiting to be billed. These are billable expenses. Here again, I can drill down and see the details of how that transaction was coded and the amount that needs to be billed out. In this case, it seems that there's a markup on the transaction, a 10% markup specifically. So if I drill down, we can see the billable price is $22.44. And if I drill down to see those details on that transaction, the amount we can see is for $20.40. Continuing down on the list, we can see all of the other transactions that are waiting to be billed out, accounts payable transactions, along with some purchasing transactions. Even order entry and journal entries can be billable and be billed through the TPM module. When I've selected everything that I want to bill, I can click on this Create Invoices button. We can see here that the invoice 119 was selected and successfully created. And if I want to view the invoice, I can click on View Invoices. This will allow me to take a specific look at this invoice that was generated. In the invoicing screen, we can see all of the line items that are selected to be billed on this invoice. Now our actual invoice format is set up and we can consolidate it based on different line items considering their attributes. For example, you might have one line item per cost code, or you might have one line item for what we're billing out. Here in the window that we're looking at, we can see the invoice transaction and we can see all the details. Additionally, if we scroll to the top, we have the source and the attachments buttons tab, and that's going to show us any attachments that were attached to the transactions that generated the invoice. So for example, we have that timesheet image. From the timesheets, we can see the receipts from our expenses, the employee expense transaction we talked about earlier. And from the accounts payable transaction, we also had an attached invoice. When we send out this invoice to our customer, we can actually include all of the attachments if we set it up to send those out. It is an option for us to send those out. Additionally, Sockeye has created an application that will combine all those documents for the transaction into one PDF or attachment, instead of having to send several different transactions. Here, back on our invoicing screen, we would see the single attachment here that would include all of the additional components, and it's all set to go to be emailed out. All of those attachments would be included in that email, and the email format again is in a Word document that allows us to configure it and change whatever we want to in terms of what we want to send out on the invoice. If you have any other questions or considerations when it comes to Sage Intacct or working with Sockeye, let us know, and we'll see you in the next video.